Hello. Hello, folks. Welcome. Now, not sure if anybody's in here. It's hopefully the internet's doing good. No one's in here quite yet, or it hasn't loaded at least. So, okay. All right. Now that it says there's 4 people in here, let me know. Can you hear me? Can you see me? At least hear me, because I know sometimes the video can be a little glitchy. I'm gonna go in the corner. We're gonna cast web pages and stuff and look at stuff, so I won't be taking up your screen the whole time. But if you can hear me, just let me know if everything's good. Okay, cool. Thank you. It's one of those things that it's perfectly fine before I start. And then it starts to get weird once I start streaming. That's just the nature of this app. But yeah, we already see some stuff in the chat. What's up, everybody? Happy Friday. No, not Friday. Today's Saturday. Today's Saturday. I don't even know why I said Friday. I was all mixed up because I have done them on Fridays normally. But happy Saturday. Happy Ghostbusters Day. I know there's a comment in here about Ghostbusters. Happy Ghostbusters Day. This day 40 years ago, Ghostbusters was released, as well as Gremlins as well. But yeah, happy Ghostbusters Day, everyone, and happy Saturday. And so while we wait for some more people to get in here, while we wait for the stream to really get going, we're going to talk about the big announcement, right? What we got from Halloween Horror Nights this past week. We're going to talk about updates for Orlando and Hollywood, because finally Hollywood is getting updates. Like, clap it up. Finally, Hollywood is getting updates. I know there's a lot of Hollywood people in my audience that are cheering that Hollywood is finally getting something. And we're going to talk about Orlando and Hollywood, and then talk about maybe I mentioned tips and things like that later on, because we are talking about tickets and hotels and stuff. There has been a recent discovery within the community about the hotels for this year. If you know, you know. We'll talk about it if you don't. Yeah, lots of stuff to talk about. Lots of official stuff that's been dropped. This past few weeks have been kind of crazy. Yeah, because it makes sense. We're rolling into June, and we're going to get more updates as we start to get construction. Hopefully, construction begins at the end of this month, maybe at the tail end of this month, beginning of next month. So let's go through the chat here before we get into the specifics of the announcement. Who's designing these new shirts? So I'm someone who, I don't hate the new merch. It's not my favorite merch. I haven't bought. I think I got the one shirt they did for Slaughter Cinema, that like punky shirt. I really like that one, but like the other shirts are just not for me. Like the orange shirt, definitely not for me. The Quiet Place shirt, it looks fine. I'm not like super one way or the other about it. It's just the key art, which it would be a thing if it was like on sale at the end of the event and I really love the house, then I might pick it up, but I wouldn't like go out of my way to buy it. But yeah, I know it's definitely dividing people. A lot of people do not like the merch this year. I do. It's ugly, but the granite one was cool. Yeah, that's the one I got. That was the only one that I was like, this one's actually, I think, worth it and could look cool. I think the only way I've seen that Where Horror Lives shirt worn was by one set of creators, Wicked Thrill Seekers. Probably not watching this, but if you are not familiar with the Wicked Thrill Seekers, go check them out. They do great HHN coverage. They were the ones who were able to style that shirt. I couldn't believe it. Like, I watched them. You know, obviously they cut up the shirt and they cut the sleeves off and stuff. But yeah, they looked great in the shirts. And I was like, wow, you guys pulled it off. I would not be able to. But yeah, we also got a more clear look at the Demon Gate and Otis. Yeah. So that's a thing we could talk about. We could talk about the gate as well when it comes to the announcement. So the stuff that's not directly related. I have a theory about what's going on with announcements this year and how it's going to tie into that. We could talk about that later on. But yeah, we got a lot of stuff. I mean, I think they've been, I know for me, at least for Orlando, I know, like I said, Hollywood, it's a whole other conversation. I don't know what y'all were doing. I don't know what Murdy and the team were doing. But for Orlando, I feel like I've been enjoying how we've been doing the announcement season this year, getting the originals, getting standalone announcements, getting, an IP announcement. We have over half the event announced, and it is not even July yet. It's barely June, and we already have a good chunk of the event, at least house-wise. We don't know any of the streets yet. We don't know what the show is going to be. Probably going to be Nightmare Fuel, but you never know. It could be something else. There's this comment about the Bill and Ted phone booth. I think kind of ties into what I was talking about. There have been people talking about maybe Bill and Ted could come back. I'm not sure if that's... I don't know, for many, many reasons. I don't know why they would bring Bill and Ted back, or if it would be the smartest thing for them to bring Bill and Ted back, especially in exchange for Nightmare Fuel, because I know while it's not a favorite for everyone, there are a lot of people that love Nightmare Fuel and would be sad to see that go so soon. But anyway, that's a whole nother thing. What the entertainment's going to be this year, because they are, just like last year, they were very like hush about what it is. I mean, last year they did the same thing where it was like 10 houses, 5 zones, pretty clear, you know what to expect, and then live entertainment, which we don't know what that means. We don't know if that means a show. We don't know if that means a few hordes. We don't know if that means things like the Peacock Bar and the Megans and the Death Eaters and a show. I'm guessing a few of those things are going to come back because they were pretty popular, but yeah, I'm not sure. But yeah, it does make for fun spec when talking about what could be coming to the event, especially when we already know. I mean, for Orlando, just officially confirmed, we already have pretty much everything, like most of the houses confirmed already. So yeah. So let's talk about that announcement. A Quiet Place coming to Halloween Horror Nights 33. I did a video where I showed the trailer. I'm not going to show it here because I know YouTube is weird with live streams and copyright stuff, and I don't want to just get my live stream shot down because I played the full trailer. But for those who have seen it, I'm sure y'all are in my community. You probably have seen it. Probably have watched the trailer. Like me, watched it more than once. Really great trailer. I love the trailer for A Quiet Place. I think it was really well done. It wasn't too heavy on the Scream Squad thing, which is something I really like. I like when they do different things. Of course, including the ASL in there was a lot of fun. Doing, getting that sort of suspense and the tension really gave me an idea, and I'm sure many of you as well, what the house is going to look like. Because I know when the idea was being thrown around about A Quiet Place possibly coming to the event, a lot of people, including myself, were like, we're not sure. And I mean, I'm still not sure how they're going to completely pull it off. However, I think seeing the trailer definitely gets me a little more curious about what they're going to do with it. Was A Quiet Place HHN trailer filmed at Universal Orlando? As far as I know, it was not. I think it was filmed somewhere out, like an off-site location. I don't know, because I don't know anywhere in Universal that looks like that. And considering they film so much at Universal. They film the Fear Cannot Be Contained video that was primarily filmed at Universal Orlando. Majority of the Scream Squad videos in the past, I know Horrors of Blumhouse was filmed in one of the garages. The Legends Collide one was filmed in the park in the Palace Theater, the Palace Arcade sort of facade thing. So they do film a lot of commercials in Orlando because they have so much room. And I wish they would do more in Hollywood because they have a lot of room there too, but I know they use those for actual big budget productions. But yeah, I think that is, it's interesting. That's another thing I kind of like about the trailer, that it wasn't just, hey, everybody's going to Halloween Horror Nights and then the things are happening. It's something completely separate from Halloween Horror Nights. These are just regular people that, because the gate has been opened, because whatever is living under Universal has unleashed, then that is why we're seeing it happen and come that way. So, and we're seeing it affect other people. Do I go to Spooky Empire? I've never been to Spooky Empire. I really want to go. I'm very, very close to going in October. I was going to go in May, and I regret it now, especially because that announcement came out in May. But no, I really want to go this year, though. I'm going to see, because I have, of course, Horror Nights, and then other haunts. I want to do Howl-O-Scream. I'm really trying to do Howl-O-Scream both in Orlando and Tampa this year. And for sure, Orlando, that's definitely going to happen. Tampa, I'm not 100% sure. I'm going to try to make it out there this year and do a video for y'all out there. I want to do more spooky stuff outside of Horror Nights specifically, but I think it would be fun. It could have been an actual. I think this is the case. I think it's like an actual laundromat that was just. There's like, hey, we'll rent that out for the night and we'll shoot a clip there somewhere around Universal, because it just looks like any old laundromat, and I think that's, again, really cool part about it. Yeah, fear cannot be contained and now it's spreading, because Halloween Horror Nights, or Universal, I guess I should say, is where horror lives. The horror lives there. So now that it is unleashed, it is going up to places outside of the park. We saw it a little bit last year. We did see we saw the friends in I don't remember. The one girl was in her house playing The Last of Us. The other girl was in at a school. I think it was a school, like a high school or something, for Stranger Things. And then the other guy was in the park with the Exorcist trailer. So my guess is we're going to get 3 trailers this year. We have A Quiet Place, possibly Ghostbusters, and or Insidious. I think those are going to be the trailers we get this year. If that's what's actually coming, we're pretty sure those are going to be what's happening this year. So I think if those IPs all line up exactly as we're thinking they're going to, those would be the trailers we're going to get, and I think we'll see a similar thing. Unfortunately, Chemo Dog, Laundry Place is my favorite ride. I know you mentioned something about seeing Universal Monsters vid. I don't know if they would do that again, because last year they didn't do one, and I was so sad because I love the characters they did last year, and I think they would have been really fun for a video. But I think unless they start treating the monsters like a premier IP again, I don't see it happening. Last year, they really sidelined them. And that sucks because Unmasked was my favorite Monsters house. At least, I mean, that's like the one that I have the most fond memories attached to. Granted, I didn't see all of them, but even from what I have seen, I still love Unmasked the most. Just because I love the characters of Unmasked. So, I'm very upset they sidelined the monsters last year, so I don't think, especially with the way this year's looking, I don't think we're going to see that, unfortunately, although I would love it. The Laundromat from Terrifier. I know a lot of people want art at the event, and I don't know. I don't know. Every time, I feel like every stream we have this conversation about art and Terrifier. I made it known I'm not a huge Terrifier fan. I'm not really a huge Art the Clown fan. I should rephrase that. I like Art the Clown as a character. I'm not the big fan of the kind of movie that Terrifier is. It's for some people. Some people love it. That's awesome. And good for you. For me, it's just not my kind of movie. I don't love overly gore, so I don't really love Saw that much either. It's just not my thing. But I know it would do it for a lot of people. So I don't know. Dylan, Legends Collide was so good. Also, check out Dylan Thomas on YouTube. Go watch Dylan's videos because he did great Halloween Horror Nights coverage last year. But he does other Universal, Disney, general Central Florida attractions, parks, everything like that. So go check out his channel. It's really, really good quality vlogs and sort of update videos. But yes, Legends Collide. I did like that house quite a bit. And honestly, I don't think it's my favorite. I think it is. It wasn't my favorite of that year. I know a lot of people love that house a lot. And I think it was just because for me, a lot of it felt so samey. It did definitely felt like if you were a Mummy fan or a fan of Egyptian vibe, you're in heaven there because that's pretty much the whole set. But I think what I liked about Unmasked was that it had that variety of you had the really tight, in the sewers of Paris. And then you had the sort of big sort of courtyard scenes, and then you also had some of the other scenes like the Notre Dame Cathedral, which was beautiful, and I think the sets in Legends Collide were beautiful too, but I think it all kind of felt very similar. But I will say in that house the aggression was crazy. That was definitely, I think, the scariest house that year in terms of just super aggressive scares in your face, getting nuts. I did like that house quite a bit. That was one of the first houses that I did, and it was a house that kind of woke me up and I was like, oh, this is what Horror Nights is about. Is it possible? It's possible we could get a trailer for Hollywood's exclusive IP. Yeah, for sure. I think last year maybe wasn't the best year to look at that because it was Evil Dead, and it's a Warner Brothers, right, third party, but also Evil Dead, they didn't put on anything. Like, no Evil Dead merch, not on the shirt. It was no, basically, if you didn't go to the event and actually see the house, you wouldn't know that it was there. It was on the sign at the front, and that was about it. From what, right, Hollywood folks, am I correct about this? I don't remember seeing any Evil Dead stuff related. So I wonder if it's something that, if it's another IP, like if it is maybe a Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I wouldn't be surprised if they were to do a trailer, or just unfortunately reuse a trailer they've done for past years. They've done that with Halloween in the past, where they did a trailer for, they took the 2018 trailer and then they reused it for 2021, pretty much exactly the same. So if it's the weekend, I would love to see another weekend trailer. I love the first weekend trailer was excellent. I think all the trailers for that year were excellent in my opinion. IP exclusive was The Exterminators. That's true. They seem to do a Terror Tram video though. I feel like they did a Terror Tram video, because I know they did one for Exterminators. They did one the year before, the Jordan Peele, like when they did the Jordan Peele takeover. And then they did I don't know if they did one for The Purge, but yeah, no Evil Dead. Yeah, no Evil Dead. It was just not really a thing. Like, I felt like it was something that I'm kind of disappointed, because I love Evil Dead, and I really loved Evil Dead Rise. That's why I'm like, the house looked like so much fun. I've said this in every stream, multiple videos before. That is a house that I would have loved to have seen, but I was kind of like bummed that they didn't do anything really for it, and no fanfare for Evil Dead. I figured out the trailer was filmed Laundry Express and Cleaners in Oak Ridge. Wow, I awesome. Don't go dox the Oak Ridge laundromat, Halloween Hornets fans. I think that was the point. They wanted to keep it anonymous, but that's cool that they made it something. They did something unique. I think Legends Collide Aggression was a masterclass that year. Haven't seen that level. Then, what Monsters House would you want to see in the future? I know a lot of people say Creature from the Black Lagoon, and I'm also someone who says Creature. But another one I really want is, I want a solo Wolfman house, like a running around in the woods. Do kind of like Frankenstein versus the Wolfman style, like they did in Hollywood, but just do a Wolfman. In terms of like Universal monsters, I would like to see, because we've already kind of tapped into everyone pretty much except for Creature, right? Creature's at the top of the list. Wolfman would like to see. I guess This Island Earth is also considered a monsters house. I know like an Atomic Monsters, like that 50s sort of monster house, would be kind of cool. But honestly, Dracula House would be fun. Like a big Dracula's castle would be really cool. There are so many they could still do without kind of retreading old ground. But I think Creature is my top pick, just because it's something we haven't seen before. And it's something they have a lot of potential, especially with Jungle of Doom being so set-wise, so beautiful last year, that if they were to tap into that same well and be like, let's build this out inside of a soundstage especially, but even a tent, let's do a big jungle theme, I think it could be really cool. And then also underwater section for Creature. Currently at work, wanted to pop in and say, have a killer stream. Thank you, Zombie Chris. We'll be talking about you later in the video. But thank you for popping in and saying hello. Yeah, appreciate it. Friend of the channel, Zombie Chris. If you don't know him, you know Zombie Chris. Do you know what the parasite thing in Fear Cannot Be Contained video is? So we don't know what it is. We have a few theories about what it could be, but we don't know specifically like what it is, because it hasn't really been, as far as I know, confirmed by Universal about like, here's what it is. I think my theory is once we see all the IP videos, so we have the first IP video, which was Quiet Place, right? We do a couple more. Then we do the big event video, the big teaser that we get for both Hollywood and Orlando, where we kind of get everything. We'll see what it is, and we'll get confirmation. I'm leaning away from the whole icon thing, unless it's a new character, unless it's like a new sort of creature we see. I don't think it'll be something that we know, and that's my thing. I think I want to say maybe we talked about this in the last stream, but maybe the museum having a tie to the I don't remember if we talked about the museum in the last one, but like the artifact in the museum maybe tying into that a little bit, being like an unexpected lore house that we're thinking, oh, this is just going to be a museum house, and then actually tying it into whatever is going to be featured. I don't think we're going to get a capital I icon this year. at this moment. Unless something changes, I don't see it happening, unfortunately. But, it is what it is. Do we know anything about the scare zones? We know zero about the scare zones. There was a map that was published. Nightmares published another spec map with a few symbols. We have like a sugar skull, and we had another like skull thing. I didn't make a video on it because it was like most of the stuff we'd already talked about and or had already been confirmed, right? But also this was too. It was there, and that was only 2 zones. So there's a lot of unknown with the scare zones. I think once we start to see some construction come into the zones, like I said, I'm guessing what day is today? Today is June 8th. June 8th. So we're in June, beginning of June. I'm guessing by the end of this month, maybe the top of next month, we will see some construction start to go down in the scare zones, some trusses, some lighting, maybe some signal as to maybe what we could see in those scare zones. But for right now, we don't know. We have rumors. We have very loose ideas, but I don't know. I have no clue. Creature House. Dracula could have an amazing grand set for sure. For sure. I think Dracula could be such a great, like super gothic house, almost like Bride of Frankenstein Lives, like super just that classic monsters feel. That's what I got out of Unmasked that I didn't get out of Legends Collide. And I think that was just something for me, at least, that I got that I just felt classic. It had that time period feel. Yeah. But I think Dracula could do that for sure. What scenes will we go through in the Quiet Place house? I'm glad you asked. So this wasn't made official in any like release by Universal, at least on the website, but it is something that they did release in the press release. They sent it to the other articles, and I did briefly talk about it in the video. But we're following the Abbott family from the first movie. So we are going to be following their sort of journey. First and second film, I should say, not just the first movie. We're going to be going into the farmhouse. We're going to be going into the foundry, and we're going to go into the basement from those films. So those are a couple of the scenes we already know. I'm guessing, just a guess, I'm guessing it's going to be kind of similar to The Last of Us, not just in concept, but also in execution. I think we're going to see similar execution as to what we saw with Last of Us in terms of the sets, big scale sets, sort of that farmhouse, like rural America that we see in the Quiet Place films. I think that's what's going to be brought to life in the house. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. But definitely the house and the basement, they made pretty much known that those are going to be in the house. So we're going to get those scenes, or I think it's the basement, where she's in the bathtub, right? We're going to get that scene. That's what they said is going to be in the haunted house. The rumors we have a super icon like Fear, so marketing does fit the bill. Yeah, I mean, and I'm not saying that we won't. I just don't know. And if we do, it's a completely new character. It has to be. Because I don't think it's tied to anything. Like, I don't think Fear's coming back. I don't think, unfortunately, we're not getting Boris this year. I don't think we're getting, like, any characters like that. I think we're going to get a new character this year, something all new, maybe. And that would be really, I think that'd be pretty cool. Bride was amazing. It's definitely my top 3 of all time, or just Monsters houses. I'm just curious because Bride, I think Bride is the strongest story told in terms of like a story from beginning to end. I think it's the best story they've done out of any of the Monsters houses. That's my one complaint about Unmasked, is that the story was so-so, right? It wasn't something that was super strong. It was more like, here's the guys hanging out in Paris, right? Like, here's everybody doing their crazy things. Here's the Invisible Man being a maniac, like, and that's all I wanted to see. But I would have liked a stronger story. I think Legends Collide also had a good story too, but I think Brides was just a little stronger. So making a bit on Quiet Place, but in a preconception, Quiet Place could probably take the best of Seeds and Chupacabra and combine it with new gimmicks. Yeah, I think we'll see a lot of the things they've used in the Apocalypse houses, which I don't love Apocalypse houses. Descendants of Destruction is probably my least favorite house that I've ever done. I just don't really love Apocalypse. Last of Us was my least favorite of last year. Apocalypse houses just aren't my thing, right? But I do think they could do something interesting with the sort of sound design, with the ASL, with sort of the, I don't want to call them gimmicks, but with the design choices, I should say, because gimmicks is it's not the best word to use. I think they could definitely do that with this. And do some cool creature design because those creatures look insane. Maybe some Demogorgon style, maybe some puppetry or some like really big costumes. I think that will be what we see. I don't think we'll see a lot of them. I think it'll be kind of like The Last of Us. Now, granted, The Last of Us was very infected heavy, but I think we're going to see more of the humans. I feel like Evil Dead Rise was only a filler because it was originally supposed to be at 2022. Yeah, I mean, that's what's been talked about for to death, and Orlando was supposed to also get it, and then for some reason they were able to just renegotiate that with Hollywood, but not Orlando. I don't know the whole legal situation with that, but yeah, it definitely, like, Horror Hotel, Evil Dead, I'm excited to see because Quiet Place is supposed to be located in this same location that Evil Dead was last year, conveniently enough, in the UBE Walking Dead building. So I would not be surprised if we see them do something different here. You know, they had The Walking Dead, it was The Walking Dead, and then they changed it around for Horror Hotel, kept it kind of the same for Evil Dead, but now they're going back to sort of that apocalypse kind of theme, right? Like some of the stuff we might have seen in Walking Dead. So maybe they're going to try to really go all in and try something new with the location there. They should do a cornfield. No, please, no cornfields. Let's do no cornfields anymore, please. Let's retire the cornfield from Halloween Horror Nights just in general. Let's say we're going to do it and then not do it. For those who don't know, the corn urban legend, it's not really even an urban legend at this point. Every time they represent corn at Halloween Horror Nights, there's some crazy hurricane. It's been going on since, I think, 2004. 2004 it happened, and then 2017 it happened. 2022 it happened. So I want to stay away from cornfields. I don't want another hurricane to hit the event and knock out the event for a few days, like it did back in 2022. Aside from me not being a big fan of the films, I think that's another reason why I'm not excited for A Quiet Place, because it's so similar. Yeah, I do see that, and I understand that. And I think for me it's different enough just because of the sort of the silence, right? I think that's like the big talking point, that it's not just The Last of Us. But I could see where people might draw this, and I understand. I understand totally. It's not my most hyped of the year. I know there's a question here about my most hyped original of the year. Even as far as just houses go, this is probably at the bottom of my list, if I'm being honest with you, but I'm hoping to be surprised. That happened last year with Exorcist, especially because Exorcist was at the number 9 spot last year on my hype list, and it shot up to my top 5 by the end of the event because that house was great in my opinion. So who knows? Quiet Place could be the surprise of the year and could really actually be scary, which is not something we're seeing with every house. I think some of the houses are going to be a little less scary. So if you have a house like Quiet Place that's like a big scare house, that could really draw the crowds and draw people's interest in being like the scary house this year. At least in Orlando. I'm not sure about Hollywood. So what's my most hype original? Definitely Slaughter Cinema, just because I'm super excited for Slaughter Cinema. I never got to see the first Slaughter Cinema. So as someone who loves Horror Nights lore, history, and I love like B movies and like stupid like horror B movies, I love that so much. So I think that's my top of the list. And then I'd say probably Major Sweets is there up there too, because I love the Scare Zone. And then as far as an original that we don't know about really yet, Triplets of Terror, because I'm getting big House of a Thousand Corpses vibes from it, like Universal's kind of take on that with the sort of serial killer family. And I'm really curious. I think it could be something super interesting, or it could be something that might fall flat. We don't know, but my hope is high, and I'm hoping it's something that completely surprises us. Will the performers that are cast as American Sign Language have to take a class? I'm sure, probably some sort of training. If they aren't already fluent in it, they're gonna have to take some kind of training for it, at least for because it'll be one sort of trigger, right? So they'll just have to, I'm sure, learn a few different phrases. It's not like they have to be, I don't think, fully well-versed in the language for the entirety of the house, because everybody's at different points. But I'm not his character, so I don't know what the training is like there. I wish they bring... There we go. I wish they bring back the weekend as a scare zone. Yeah, definitely. I think honestly, a lot of people have said, "Oh, let's do a Dawn FM scare zone." I honestly think you do all eras of the weekend. Do it like an all-night die-in kind of thing where you have different eras of the weekend at different times, some set changes, or maybe you just do it like that. After Hours in one set, Dawn FM in another set, where you can experience both at different times because they do take place in different sort of time zones, like in terms of like a storyline. So maybe if they were to do something like that, I think it could be fun. But yeah, I mean, I'd always love to see the weekend come back. It was my favorite house that year. Have you seen maze walkthroughs? Yes. Watched plenty of walkthroughs of Hollywood's mazes. Yeah, that's really my familiarity with the event, because when I went to Hollywood, it wasn't Horror Nights time. And my next time I visit Hollywood, I don't think it'll be this year, but if it is hopefully it's next year. Who knows with Epic Universe how that's going to throw away or throw off my plans. But I really do want to plan to go to Halloween Horror Nights Hollywood next year, because it looks like an incredible event that I think I would love. Obviously, it's much different than Orlando, but looks like a lot of fun. Would you rather have 12 originals and that's it, or 10 IPs and that's it? I've always thought about what a year of only originals would look like in recent years. Yeah, so I think this is a crazy question, because it's like, for so long, really up until, I mean, granted, they've had IPs of the event since it started, but it may be one IP or like a couple, and they weren't marketed. They were marketed, but it wasn't the same, right? In 2007 was really where the paradigm shifted, and they were like, here, let's go into IP mode and let's market the IPs over the originals, I should say. Where in the early 2000s with the icons and things like that, you didn't really get that. But I think an all original year could be it could be something very, I think it could be something that I would want to see versus all IPs, because for me, I love IPs, and I like IP houses more than some other people do. Why is my hair doing this? I love IP houses more than some other people do. I honestly think, other than The Last of Us being just not for me, I do think all the other IP houses were really great, or at least a lot of fun. I know a lot of people don't love Chucky, but I'm a Chucky fan, so I'm a big fan of the Chucky house. Stranger Things grew on me. It wasn't my favorite at the start of the event. I actually really didn't like it a lot at the start of the event, but by the end, I had this sort of attachment to it because it was a house I always did first, and I always did stay and scream for it when I could. And it was just kind of a house that I started to memorize. I memorized the triggers. I memorized the sounds, and it's one of those that I feel like I can like viscerally remember being involved in and like standing in that facade. Like the facade of the trailer is something that I'm not going to lose. Even though it wasn't my favorite house, Monsters was my favorite IP last year. Exorcist was a close second. I really like IPs, but I love originals more. And I think they don't have as much restriction with IPs, because sometimes with third parties, right, they want you to do things a certain way. We've seen that with IPs in the past. They want you to do things a certain way. They want you to put certain things in the house or take certain things out of the house. With originals, they have full control. So they can say, screw it, we're going to do this crazy icon move, and we're going to have all the scare zones be themed, and we're going to have everything be themed. And it's like, it's something that, you look back at years like HHN, even HHN 19 with the IPs, like take the IPs out and you had a crazy lore year. Same thing with 18. Same thing with 17 to a degree. All those icon years, like getting something like that, or even if it wasn't icon related, right? Like just a super original heavy year, like I'm guessing this year is going to be, I'd be down for that. I'd be down for a full original slate. I'm more of an IP fan than an original maze fan, because you know what to expect, and that's totally fair. I know there's another comment here about IPs, and IPs are great. I think there's a place for IPs at Halloween Horror Nights. That's part of the fun, right? You go to Halloween Horror Nights, especially if you're not like a super fan, right? If you're just like someone who casually enjoys the event, you go because you want to see Halloween, you want to see Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you want to see Chucky, you want to see Stranger Things, and whatever, Universal Classic Monsters, right? You want to see these movies brought to life and be in these immersive worlds that is created by Universal, that has this budget, whether it's properties that are owned internally, right, have full control of stuff like Universal Monsters or even like Blumhouse, or it's stuff that's outside that they still put all their effort and money and time into bringing it to life. So definitely, I think IPs are, I think people that say IPs suck, I think are just like it's kind of not a nuanced way to look at it, because it's like there have been fantastic IP houses and there have been really not great original houses, right? There have been kind of fail original houses, right? But there have also been vice versa, right? So it's one of those things, like IPs attract a certain perspective, a certain audience, and even someone who like me, who is a more fan of the originals. I'm still excited to see IPs leave in. I'm still excited to see what they do with The Quiet Place, even though I'm not a huge fan of the franchise. So anyway, that's my little rant about IPs versus originals. But I don't know. What do y'all think? I know some people have already put in the chat, but what do y'all think? Just generally, do we like IPs more or originals more? And why? I'm just curious, because for me, it's like even, and I think I'm coming also from a different place, because original lore is what got me into this event, right? I started coming to this event. Yes, my first experience with Halloween Horror Nights was technically IP based. It was with the Stranger Things, when they did Stranger Things, and they did the little pop-up at Cometa Bay, and that's what got me to go in there, right? Because I had a big sign that said Stranger Things outside, so I was like curious on what they're doing, and of course I saw the merch and I saw the stuff they were doing. I'm like, oh, it looks so cool. I love Stranger Things, and I would like to see that. But also, it's like, what really got me to go to the event was Halloween Horror Nights 30, and that was all like icons, of course, but also case files. I loved case files. I love Boris Schuster. I love the whole Legendary Truth deal. I think that's such a neat, like, private investigator of horror and supernatural things. So I think, like, I'm coming in as someone who was already like sold on originals, and then in the time that I've been going, I've seen these crazy originals like Dead Man's Pier, seeing stuff like The Darkest Deal or Dr. Oddfellow, and stuff like this here, Monstros and Major Suites and all that stuff. Yeah, I love originals. Anyway, originals and video game IPs. Definitely think they should tap into video games a little more. I know I've said it before, and especially after watching the series, I think Fallout would be a great. I know they're doing that Fallout shelter looking thing. I don't think it's Fallout like the property, but I would love to see Fallout come to Horror Nights at some point. That would be awesome. Or even like, I mean, I've always said BioShock would be great. Fallout would be great. I'm trying to think. I know there have been plenty more. I mean, Silent Hill, right, coming back. Resident Evil coming back. There's just so many great horror games. Five Nights at Freddy's, all kinds of stuff that they could really pull from. And they can go for video games for years. There's so many popular video games that have multiple installments that you could do IP houses based on. IPs I prefer, Freddy vs. Jason got me into the craze, but The Weeknd made me love it more. And then 2023 was my very first year of HHN Hollywood. Right. So that's the thing too. And I think it's also, and I know we kind of have talked about this before, and I kind of noticing this, but it also depends on what coast you go to, because obviously Hollywood is very IP heavy. So if you go to Hollywood more and you're more familiar with Hollywood, you're seeing more IPs than originals, even though they started to lean a little more into originals in recent years. But Orlando is definitely more original heavy. So it just kind of depends where you're coming from. Originals. I'm more originals for the creativity from the team, but I don't mind IP. That's kind of where I'm at. Originals, I've been going since 28, and the OGs are what made me want to keep going. I feel like I've seen all the IPs I care for. Yeah, I think that's the thing, is like, for me, it's hard for me to think of a whole lot of IPs that I would love to see at the event. Like, I would die to see at the event that haven't already been at the event, right? Like, Fallout is one. I've been a huge fan of that franchise for so long, and I think it would be really cool to have that. Something like Creepshow coming to Orlando would be awesome. One time, of course, Scream would be great to get at Orlando, but like, it's not one that I have so many IPs that I'm like, oh, I would love to see this and this and this. There are more original ideas, or more house sequels, or scare zones to houses that I would like to see. Like, oh, I'd love to see an arcade house. I'd love to see a sequel to like a Vanity Ball house. I would like to see all kinds of houses. There's so many. I have a big list of house sequels that I would love that are original houses. So I mean, that's where I'm at too. Japan does Resident Evil every year. Yeah. Japan does kind of lean in also to the more like I know generally they lean more into the anime stuff, which is another thing they could definitely pull from here. And we've talked about it before, but I don't think they'll do that anytime soon. When was the last time they had IP as part of the lore? 2007. Well, no, 2009. 2009, I think, was the last time they did, because they kind of did that tightrope with like the Wolf or Universal Monsters being a part. I think it was a part of the lore, because I think they tied everything back into the Usher that year. I don't know. They think that's correct. I would have to do my research again and like refresh myself. So they have 3 Universal Monsters houses that year, kind of tying into the movies and the silver screen, and of course, Phantom of the Opera was definitely a big part of the lore for the Usher. So yeah, I think that was probably the last year they did it really like went crazy with that. Destroy All Humans. This is a video game, right? I'm showing my like lack of knowledge for video games. This is a video game. I think it is. I've seen this name before. Yeah, I mean, if it's a video game, I've heard of this. I've heard of this name before. But yeah, it could be fun. Will HHN ever bring Hellraiser? I think it's a little like, it's one of those where I think especially now, it's not a huge franchise anymore. Like it's a name grabber, but it's not like I don't think it's a huge big franchise anymore. And it's also like, I feel like it's also kind of like a From Dusk Till Dawn situation, right? Where you kind of like, it's kind of like risky, like with all the sort of the themes of it. I don't know how much Universal would really want to lean into that. And if you don't, then like what's the point really? But I think they could. I mean, I think they could nail it, and I think they could really do it well. I just don't know why they would. That's more my thing. Why they would do it. Seems like IPs get a new audience to come the original, keeping coming back. Absolutely. That's my thing. That's what I've always said is like IPs get them, they reel them in. My first house was an IP house, even though I was interested in the originals. I was like, well, I want to do, because I think also IP is like people that are coming normally like everybody's advice is like go to the IPs, do the IPs first. So like your first contact with HHN is likely going to be an IP. So especially if you're like, oh, I don't know if I want to come or like whatever, you see, oh, the Weeknd's going to be there. Oh, Chucky's going to be there. Oh, Halloween or whatever. Like you get this idea of, okay, well, now I'm maybe pushed a little. And then they also have this slate of originals that's like, yeah, there's a Yeti house and there's a creepy carnival and there's all kinds of stuff that I think the originals that work the best with the general public are the ones that can be done in an elevator pitch. Yetis in a campsite, or like Bigfoot in a campsite. Okay, I know what that's like. I can kind of picture it in my head what that might look like, and then you see it in front of you. Or like, again, like creepy carnival and clowns. You know, like, oh, okay, that's kind of an idea. It's something that I think like those are, I think, the houses that also attract people a lot. That was a side tangent, but yeah, brought in by originals. The lore is great. I mean, it's why I started this channel. So definitely. Destroys all humans. Okay, so that's what I thought. I thought it was an alien. I mean, based on the emoji and also from what I've kind of heard and kind of remembered, it's like an alien themes thing. Yeah, I think Invasion would be great. I think we need Alien. Okay, I think we need Alien, like capital A Alien. We'll never get it because it's Fox and that's Disney. But I think if we can't get capital A Alien, we should just get Aliens. Like we should just get like outer space haunted house. I think that'll be fun to do. Again, they haven't done it in a long time. Using horror books as IP houses would be awesome too. Definitely could be more imaginative. I mean, they did this with Edgar Allan Poe. So I think doing more horror authors. I know everybody jumps to Stephen King, and I don't think they'll ever do Stephen King, or they won't do it anytime soon. But I think just pulling from different horror texts, I think could be interesting. Just depends on, I guess, how popular the texts are. Like if they were to do another Edgar Allan Poe house or a Lovecraft house or whatever, like I think it could be something that could work. Why was the Chucky house at HHN hated? I still don't know the reason. So it was, I think my biggest theory for why Chucky didn't hit as well as it could have, for one, was because the story was it was complicated. Like it was like a complicated story that unless you like read into it or you watched the videos in the queue, you were going to miss, I think, a good chunk of like what they were trying to go for. Whereas in Hollywood, you get it, right? It's the kind of the same idea of like Chucky's ultimate kill count, but then also like it's more of just Chucky going crazy, which is what I was really hoping for. And you kind of get it in Orlando, but you have this idea of like it's the Chucky haunted house, and it's like it's a little more like that. So for one, but also it's in Fast and Furious, and that's a location that is curious to me. I've liked both houses they've had there, but they haven't. I don't think they've nailed that location yet. I think they've only had 2 years to work with it, so I don't think they've really like they haven't gotten a perfect house there yet. They haven't gotten an all-timer in the Fast and Furious location yet. I think it's kind of the same thing that happened with Shrek, where like it took them quite a while to kind of get down what Shrek. And I mean, Shrek houses, I you know, Case Files and Killer Clowns and Krampus and Asylum in Wonderland, and like those houses are fun, but like I think they took a while to get that down, and I think that's what happens whenever they get that new location, and especially because it's tight and it's weird. But the one thing is with Fast and Furious, and I know Chris has pointed this out in a video, Fast and Furious is going to be different this year, because if you go to Fast and Furious, let me see if I have. Hold on. Let's see if I can find. Hopefully, my computer is able to. Please hold, folks. I have a video of the Fast and Furious queue. No, it's too long. It won't show. So sorry about that, folks. So from what I meant to say is that if you went to Chucky last year or you went to Horrors of Blumhouse, you would go in the queue and you would approach this wall. It's like a garage door, and you go into sort of like the secondary area of the Fast and Furious queue, and that would be where the first part of the house would be. You would then go down a hallway outside into a tent, right? They had this for the last 2 years. This year, you can go to the park, and that part of the queue is still open. Like when you go to the Fast and Furious Supercharged ride, you are in that area of the queue where the haunted house was last year, or at least the first part, right? The tent's there, so they're working inside of the tent, but it's going to be different this year. And I think that's them really trying things out, because a lot of people just weren't really vibing with the sets. I feel like it was very limiting on the sets. I think it was the biggest limitation that house had. Had Chucky been in a soundstage or in a tent, they could have done more with the sets, and they could have maybe done something closer to what we got in Hollywood. But unfortunately, that's not what we got. But I think that, you know, whatever goes in there this year, whether it's Major Suites or another house, I think they're going to change it up. And I think that is what I'm most excited to see about that location. I'm very curious to see what they do with it, and how they really, really switch it up. Or they're just working backwards, and they're going to get to that queue section, and we just haven't seen it yet. Although I highly doubt it, because we are 2 months. No, we're just under 3 months until the event, I believe. Let's see, August 30th, 30th. Yeah. So we're about 3 months until the event, just about. And so, and I don't see where they wouldn't have even started that yet. And this was as of earlier this week or last week or whenever I went. I went not too long ago, and I just wanted to see. I was just curious. So yeah. We can continue talking about houses and what we might see in them, but I do want to talk about tickets for Hollywood. Let's talk about Hollywood. Let's go to Hollywood for a second. We have talked about Hollywood a little bit, but I want to talk about the ticket update for Hollywood, because it's quite exciting. It is quite exciting. Let me share my screen. So for those who don't know, dates and tickets were announced for Halloween Horror Nights Hollywood. We have September 5th to November 3rd, which is really weird, considering they both close on the same night. And I feel like that makes sense, just because Orlando has been extending into November. Why doesn't Hollywood extend into November as well, right? So, yeah, all the ticket tiers are here. We have General Admission, we have Express, we have the Express Unlimited, which I don't believe we have that in Orlando. I think that's a Hollywood exclusive. Obviously, you get that with RIP, I believe. But I don't think from what I understand, they don't sell, and they don't outright sell it. Like, if they did sell it, they wouldn't outright sell Express Unlimited. And the 2 p.m. ticket with Express, RIP Early Access, which is back and is paid, unfortunately. And then they have the Frequent Fear passes, which for Orlando, we don't have Frequent Fear quite yet. But I'm guessing Frequent Fear will be coming soon. So Hollywood's tickets are out for my Hollywood friends. You guys finally have dates, tickets, and a haunted house, which is cool. Plus a butt ton of construction everywhere. Eurovision talk. So there's a comment here about Frequent Fear passes. Hey, love the shirt. Thank you. No, Revenge of the Mummy. We love it. I'm so excited to travel from Norway to Orlando for HHN. Well, excited for you to come to HHN. Hope the Rush of Fear Pass is released soon. When do you think it'll be released? So my guess is going to be mid-July. That's typically when they come out, right? They have recently come out alongside a big announcement. Maybe the big announcement for the year, right? Last year it was announced alongside Stranger Things. The year before, I believe they were announced alongside The Weeknd, if I am correct. And I believe the year before that, they were announced alongside Icons. Don't quote me on those last two. I know Stranger Things was last year. They came out the same day. And then they also came out, they came out that morning, and then the house announcement was later that day. So I'm guessing when we get our big IP, the next big IP, we will be getting our Frequent Fear, or because it seems like they're trying to do things early this year, maybe once we get everything, we get a couple more IP announcements, we get our whatever's left, which is, I'm guessing, going to be Scare Zone shows, filling in the gap, like they did last year. And we're going to get Frequent Fear passes alongside that, but I don't see those releasing beyond the end of July. So, or I don't see them holding them back until the end of July, I should say. I think they are going to come out before then. So keep your eyes out. I will, of course, do a video on it when it comes out. And I will be, we'll be talking about it when we think. Chris, welcome back. I'm going to guess end of June. Yeah, I think end of June, beginning of July, middle of July. I think at the very least at the end of this month and before the end of next month. That's my guess. Because last year, again, it was middle of July when they released them. Also, you mentioned hope to see some Norwegian trolls. I would love some Norwegian mythology in the museum. I would love some great folklore. Please, let's bring that stuff in there, because that would be excellent. Although we are seeing some trolls in the Goblin's Feast house. So if you don't get it there, you're going to get some trolls. They're not maybe Norwegian trolls, but they're trolls nonetheless in the Goblin's Feast house. I think I'm going for the after 2 p.m. Day Night Express. Yeah, so I'm not sure. Chris, if you're still here, I know you're someone who's gone, and I know there are other folks in the chat who have gone. I don't know. I'm not too caught up on the success of those kind of tickets. Obviously, I've never been to Halloween Horror Nights Hollywood, and I'm definitely an Orlando guy. But I'm guessing, my thing is any kind of ticket that will get you in early, that'll get you in either the park early, to the event early, get there early. Just in general, for everyone in here. Going to Halloween Horror Nights this year, if you are going, be sure to get there early. Get into Stay and Scream, get into early access, get into whatever. It'll be worth it for you. Even if you only do one house, it for me, getting that first big house done, whether it's like last year, like Stranger Things, right, or Last of Us, even if you only do one or two houses, you're still knocking out a big chunk off of your weight that's going to be later on in the night. When you do, Stranger Things will be 2 hours, right? Or whatever. you know. So I'm not expecting the same kind of crowds this year that I am last year, that we got last year. But I still think getting there early, even for some of these originals. I mean, I think Slaughter Cinema is going to be incredibly popular. I think Major Suites is also going to be incredibly popular. I think Monstros, I'm not sure how popular it will be because I don't know how much popular it was in Hollywood. From what I've heard, it wasn't very long line, but that also was because the event was just like Last of Us and Chucky and Stranger Things and big IPs. So I wonder in a different year what that will be. But I know for us, we do the early access tickets. So allows us to stay, like knock out the lower lot. I think, again, we don't know much of what's actually coming to and where it's going. So once we know what's coming and where it's going, we'll be able to like look at it and go, okay, I think it would be best to do this. And I think like for Orlando, for example, if all your IPs are up in the front, then like do your Stay and Scream up in the front, right? Or at least knock something out. And once we know, I'll do a video at least for the Orlando side about like a guide to where to go, because I know there's some people in here and some people in my personal life who watch these videos that have no clue where they're going, that have never been Halloween Horror Nights. They're going for the first time this year, and they're looking for help. So we will be doing that. Monsters was super busy. I can't tell you because I wasn't there, right? But like that was just something I just heard that it wasn't super busy. So I mean, I believe it because I mean, looks like a kick-ass house. I'm super excited for it to come to Orlando. But yeah, this year seems like it's going to top literally all of my favorite years. It might be a new favorite. I think for me, this year is definitely a year I feel like is made for a certain kind of person, and that person is me, right? Like, and I'm sure some of you, all right? We're getting some sequel houses to houses that like I wanted to see. I wanted to see Monsters. I was so jealous last year. Oh, we're getting in Orlando. Slaughter Cinema. I'd love to see that. Oh, we're getting in Orlando. And Major Suites. Oh man, I love that scare zone. We're getting in Orlando. Hey, we're getting an original slasher. Okay, give it to me. You know, like all this stuff. There's so much stuff just on the original side, and then the possibility of Ghostbusters coming back. Okay, I love Ghostbusters. I would love to see Ghostbusters. Insidious. Hey, not my favorite movie, but sure, give it to me. I'll take it all. Right. So I don't know. I'm just curious what we'll see. What we'll see this year. What we'll see in terms of everything. Most people consider Monsters the scariest house. That's what I did hear. I did hear that Monsters was among the scariest, and I think it'll be among the scariest for this year if they were able to nail it like they did in Hollywood. Hopefully, we don't get the same kind of smells we do here, because I've heard those smells in Hollywood are kind of crazy in all the houses. They do smells here, but they're not nearly as intense. I mean, even The Exorcist wasn't. The Exorcist, it was bad. It was a bad smell, like for sure, but it wasn't the worst that it could have been. Same thing with all the other houses. Really appreciate all the great content you and Chris create for the event. Thank you. You're both very talented and charismatic, making me even more excited for the event this year. Thank you for watching. That it means so much to me. And I just want to thank any of you guys who just kind of joined the party here, not just in the stream, but also to the channel. On our spooky week, right, when we get that week of announcements, we gained like 200 subscribers, which insane. So if you joined during that time, or even if you didn't, thank you for watching. That means a lot. Otis, feel like we're getting a new icon. So is Otis gonna Otis? Yes, Otis I think is like a character, right? People like it, and people are getting jazzed about it. Is Otis our icon? Because Otis is a gate. Otis doesn't move, right? Am I missing something? Is this maybe like a little boot? Like, there he is, little boo right back there. Is this a little boo thing where it's like he's like the meme of the community that then becomes like my wish? Please, Universal, if you're watching this. Universal, if you're watching this, project Otis onto the gates. Put some projectors up. I know you do it for Hogwarts, right? I know you do it in general for Halloween Horror Nights. Put the lights up. Put Otis on the gate. Have it be like maybe his eyes twitch or something, and have it be like like have it be something where that's a crazy photo op, and really upgrade those gates, because we've been seeing the same gates for years. They've had those metal wire frames for years. And all of us have been like, please, let's put something on there. Let's redo the gates. Let's do something for the gates. Put it somewhere, you know. And no, Chris Gorilla, no, it's not just for Orlando. Like, it's something that it's on the Hollywood announcements too. So project it on those gates too. Make it like a dual coast icon. The gates are already iconic. Okay. Who the hell is Otis? Otis is the name given to the creepy gates that we saw at the end of the announcement. Let me see if we can find a picture of it. There already is an Otis technically, but we're gonna pull up a photo of Otis here so you guys can get a look. Otis. There we go. Otis, everyone, is here. Has joined the stream. Please make Otis merch. Like, I have a feeling this will show up on merch, because they made a big deal out of this. Like, I feel like they made a big deal out of this look, right? They had it in the video. The fear cannot be contained. They had it in this video. Please make Otis, like, let's do it. Otis has become Earl the Squirrel. Yeah. Otis is the HH. Well, I argue Lil Boo is still. Otis is the new. It's the new one. Has Nightmare Fuel ran its course? I don't think so, unless they just keep it the same show. I think they ended the story. I think they really, like, for me, I would love a Purge Nightmare Fuel mix. Kind of like what they did in Hollywood. But that's just me. I think if they were to do something like really shake up the show, make it something different, and that's my guess. But I like the show. Yes, this will be the main. I'm guessing it's going to be like, this is the theme for this year. Like, it's going to be very like this, like, I don't know how to describe this style. Like, very like metal, like not like in the punky style they've been doing, like metal, but like it's like very like if you're gonna make a metal font Otis shirt, I feel like it would kind of make sense, right? Lil Boo's past his prime. Hey buddy, they're talking about you. I like Lil Boo. I wouldn't mind him staying around. Put him somewhere. Put him in the Major Sweets house, because he is in the picture, you know. I think I would rather have Mr. VHS. I would love Mr. Tape, right? I think the guy, I know who you're talking about, from the tribute store. I would love to see him. I would love to see him somewhere. Maybe have him appear in the Horror Nights store as like a little Easter egg, right? We have like Baron Tauntaun is the icon for Mardi Gras, right? He's a new sort of character. Earl is for Christmas and the holidays. Lil Boo / Otis is for Horror Nights, and then Mr. Tape can be for the summer, right? Right? I think we've determined it. Yeah, I think that we should really see more Horror Nights Orlando. I've heard the rumbling of maybe a Dead Exposure house coming to Hollywood with the sort of apocalypse thing, and it being, you know, maybe zombies. I love that. I'd love to see Hollywood's take on like a Dead Exposure style house, or like a Seeds of Extinction. I think that'd be really cool. Yeah, please make more. Like, let's have this share. Like, I think, yes, Orlando and Hollywood share the IPs, and they do their own different things, but like, as we've seen with them doing Scarecrow and doing it really well, and then us doing Monstros, hopefully doing it very well. I'm hearing that Murdy is involved. Like, Murdy might be involved one way or another, and in sort of helping with the house. Obviously with the creative team from Orlando. Yeah. I'm guessing you mean Mr. Tape, Chris. He needs to pop in Slaughter Cinema. Yeah, I think honestly, I know everybody wants to return to the Cary Drive-In, but I honestly think like if they were to ever do Slaughter Cinema, I think it would be really cool if we went through a video store instead, right? The Drive-In is a cool setting for the house, right? But we already have seen the Drive-In. What if we got to see a video store, like kind of like the one we see in the Tribute Store, but it's like a slashback. I don't know if y'all are familiar with slashback video. It was like a horror pop-up, like retro 80s, like blockbuster-esque kind of store, 80s, 90s kind of store. Something like that for Slaughter Cinema as like a setup before you go into the movies. I think that'd be kind of cool. And that would be a great place to put him. But maybe in the Tribute Store, maybe that could be the Tribute Store theme, or they add some decorations to the current store during Halloween, because if the Tribute Store stays the same, if the pattern stays the same as last year, we will see the Halloween Hornets Tribute Store appear in Hollywood and New York. Sorry, Hollywood has the what do you call it? The summer store, right? So, and last year they had the Jurassic Park store that stayed open until like halfway through the event during the daytime. It wasn't open during Horror Nights, but it was open during the daytime because you could have two tribute stores in two different areas of the park. So maybe they keep the summer store around and they just maybe theme it to Halloween, like put some decorations up like they did with the comic store last year. Put a couple pumpkins up, put a couple more HHN Easter eggs out there, call it a day. They're already kind of doing that. So it'd be kind of cool. They kind of update it and then eventually close it before it comes time for the holidays to take over that location. But maybe not as the main tribute store, but as a secondary one. Plus they have Ghostbusters in there, and the theories for the Mummy Q house is that it's either toxic tunnel or dead exposure. Yeah, that's what I've heard. That's what it's been going around. And I think dead exposure, Hollywood's take on dead exposure, considering how aggressive that house already is, or like how disorienting that house is with the visuals, plus Hollywood, like add in the Hollywood equation where they're already more they're already more on the scares than Orlando is. Combine that to really create something crazy, like a crazy dead exposure house, would be a lot of fun. Otis is going away for now. He may return later if we want to talk about him some more. But speaking of Orlando, I want to talk about this before we get into anything else. And friend of the show, Zombie Chris, man, you did it. Broke this news in a video. If you haven't checked it out yet on his channel, go check it out. But it surrounds the hotels for Halloween Horror Nights Orlando and what's coming to them. So in the past, we've had a few different things. Since 2019, they've really tried to plus up the hotel experience. They've really tried to make it something where you stay at Universal for Halloween Horror Nights, and it's not just you're staying there and then you go to Halloween Horror Nights, right? It's like, no, you're going to immerse yourself in the experience, right? So they had the Cabana Bay experience, and they've had that every year since 2019. They added the Swizzle Lounge in 2021. They really like plussed it up. They made the Icons Bar, then they made it I can't remember what they did for 2022. I know last year they did it all like Wicked Growth themed, right? So, they've done a few different installations, but now it's going outside of Cabana Bay. And it's going to more places. So here it is, official on the Halloween Horror Nights website, hidden on the website until Chris made the video about it, and then suddenly it appeared, and everyone is all over it. But I wanted to talk about it here. I do plan on talking about this further in a future video, potentially, about the hotels and hotel how to really stay, because there's a lot of interesting things that have been revealed about the hotels in Orlando. First thing, dedicated park entrance from 6:30 to 7:30. You have your own entrance. This is, I believe, typically over there by the Blue Man Group area, or I know I believe it's also been on the opposite side. So I'm not sure if it's. I know there used to be the Stay and Scream over there by Blue Man Group, but I think it's also on the opposite side. Maybe like the actual entrance is over there. If you go to the gates, instead of going straight, you'd make a right-hand turn and go in that side by Hollywood. Not sure. I mean, let me see. Let me see if it actually. No, it just says a special gate. So it doesn't say where it is, but my guess is going to be in that same spot. It's where they do pass holder entrances for sometimes out of the year, and it's for the special hotel entrances. for Halloween Horror Nights. So you get the dedicated entrance, you get the free transportation. That's a given. Those happen every year. But what's new for this year, we have new lounges in Cabana Bay, Aventura, and Endless Summer Dockside. And we could see a picture here. This is Aventura with this alien Area 51 invasion-esque look. Love it with the blue lighting. I think it looks great. This is the bar in the lobby of the Aventura. And then we also have themed lobbies in every hotel, which is incredible. I love this. This has me, honestly, just as excited as the house announcements, because as someone who I haven't made it confirmed yet, but I'm looking to stay out there this year, at least for opening weekend, to see what it's like. And of course, do videos. I want to cover this for y'all and show you all what it's like for those who are staying out at Universal for Halloween Horror Nights. This makes me 10 times more excited to book a room because it is because I'm actually feel like you're getting some sort of experience, right? You're getting something beyond going to Cabana Bay, doing the photo op experience, and then maybe getting a drink at the bar and then going to the event. Well, that's great. I love that every hotel is getting something. And here we see the Sapphire Falls lobby with this great like haunted mansion-esque kind of look. Very, very cool. So yes, Chris broke this news, put a video out. I want to give him a shout out because he's the one that found this. I thought this was AI generated at first. I was like, what is this? And then I looked at the website. Not saying that it's bad. I just didn't know that it was real. I didn't know it was a real thing until I looked it up. I think this looks really cool and really exciting. I honestly, like I said, I thought it was some kind of prompt. Somebody was like, make a cool hotel lobby for Halloween Horror Nights. And here it is. But yeah, definitely awesome. So this is great. I love this all around. So my guess and hotels, I think the places to be, really, if you want to get the biggest bang for your buck, I'm guessing Cabana Bay is going to still be the place to be because you get the hotel lounge, you get the lobby, you get the, I'm guessing the lounge will take over the Swizzle bar that they've been doing. So it's kind of like the Swizzle Lounge bar that they've been doing now expanded. So I'm guessing Cabana Bay is still going to be the place to be for Halloween Horror Nights. But if you're staying elsewhere, Endless Summer, if you're staying in Dockside, which is really cool, you're getting something new. Surfside's getting something new. 8 hotels. I mean, really, anywhere you stay, you're going to get something. And, you know, I'm guessing, because I know Cabana Bay, it's if you stay at any of the hotels, you have an access to that experience. I'm guessing the lounge is going to be the same. Obviously, you have to be 21, but I don't think they're going to like restrict people. I don't think they want loitering around the lounges, obviously, because they're not really that big. As you can see by this picture here, this lounge is not that large. So I don't think they want people like just hanging out that aren't staying there, but definitely very cool. At the very least, if I don't book a room, I will at least go out there and show y'all what I can and do a video, because I do want to cover this, because last year I wanted to cover it and it wasn't even as cool last year. I think this is so much cooler, and it's so great. And it makes me wonder, with Epic Universe coming next year and 3 new hotels coming, obviously I don't think Epic Universe is going to get in on the HHN action, but what if we got this in the new hotels? You know, Grand Helios gets some kind of overlay, or at the very least, the other 2, the Stella Nova and Terra Luna. Got to remember those. Will those get overlays next year? That's the question that I'm thinking about now. But anyways, I know it's not really house related, it's not zone related, and it's hotel related. But what are the thoughts on this? I think it's really cool. And for those of y'all who are staying out here, keep a lookout for these. What's going on, Queso Crackers? I had no idea about the Hollywood or the Halloween lobby until Chris. Yeah, like it definitely was something that I'm like, why didn't we see this? Like, unless they just added this? I think they just added it alongside the Quiet Place announcement. So I think we were also caught up with the announcement, the like, oh, Quiet Place and all that. And we just missed it, but I'm not mad at it. I think it's really cool. So, yeah, I just wanted to share this with y'all. And those aliens, could we get another extraterrestrial house? I think these aliens are honestly pulled from the dead. They look like the ones from the Dead Coconut Club. So maybe we're repurposing some of that house and the sort of tone with that, or not the house, the bar, and making that. I don't think we're getting it this year, but I think the aliens are popular. I think it could be something they could attach next year. Or don't write off aliens appearing in Slaughter Cinema 2 as one of the movies. I would not be surprised if we got an alien sci-fi related movie. Those aliens probably have something to do with the futuristic look. And then there's another comment here about adding something to the Epic hotels. Yeah, I think this gives me a lot of hope that they're not just like randomly sticking lounges everywhere. I'm hoping they really lean into the theme of the resort, or at least the theme they're going with the lobby to spruce up the lounges, right? So I'm guessing my guess would be maybe Cabana Bay gets that 50s sort of like retro Halloween that we got a couple years ago, right? We get the like kind of like goofy looking Halloween decorations that are also so awesome. Really would fit in the vibe of Cabana Bay. Maybe looks like Sapphire Falls is going for almost like a Haunted Mansion kind of feel. So maybe we'll get that. We'll see that sort of like Haunted Mansion, Tower of Terror kind of vibe, Gothic, classic architecture. Will be great. I'm thinking maybe Endless Summer, both the Endless Summers do like a tiki theme, right? Like do like maybe some tiki stuff like they're doing in the summer All Hallow Eve store. And stuff like that. Like really lean into like kind of the themes they're going with. Can tie into the theme of the hotel, or can tie into something completely different like they're doing here. Really the potential is everywhere. It's all over the place. I wish I can go this year. I think it's going to be awesome. Yeah, I'm so sorry you're not going this year. For those who aren't going, I will definitely cover it. So y'all can see what it's about if you watch the channel. Having a crashed UFO in the Invasion Scare Zone like a lobby, I think that'd be cool. I'm trying to think. I don't think Aventura would have the room for this, but I think it would be cool if they were to do it, especially like outside. But yeah, I don't think Aventura has the space for this, unfortunately. Aventura is quite a small, at least like for something like that, it's definitely quite a small lobby. It's been a while since I've been Aventura though. More sci-fi horror. Imagine Universal does a Jason X house. I don't think Jason, maybe. I mean, maybe not Jason X, but I do think Jason potentially with the whole Jason universe thing that's happening. I would not be surprised if we see more Jason potentially in the future. Considering there may be a tie with a Blumhouse or Peacock or whoever, in the future for Jason projects. They did mention Haunted Experience as being one of them, so maybe in the future. I see Jason coming back earlier than I see Freddy coming back, in my opinion. So yeah. Tickets on sale in Hollywood, house announcement, hotel upgrades. Lots of stuff happening for Halloween Horror Nights, even though we are still just in June. And I think this is smart to do this sort of rollout now and not wait until the end of July to do this, like they've done in past years. Like, I think doing this rollout now with so much stuff, expanding the event, is a smart idea. Let me see. I'm going to chat here. Yeah. I think that's all the stuff I want to talk about. So maybe we could just talk about any questions, any comments, any suggestions about the event, anything. Let's sort of, I don't want to say last minute because I don't plan on ending it right now, but I talked about everything I wanted to talk about, which were the hotels, tickets, and the announcement. So yeah, any sort of other comments you want to leave, let's do it up. Jason X, Terminator, Queen of the Damned, The Ring. I'm still waiting for Universal to do 2000s era. I'm curious because I don't know when they would do another themed year like that, and I definitely think they would do the 90s first. I don't think the 90s are happening this year, but I wouldn't be surprised if they happen in the future year. A lot of people have been wanting it, and 2000s would be fun. But I also don't think it's I think it's still kind of recent for them to do it. The 90s feels a little like in terms of aesthetically feels a little further away than the 2000s. I mean, grant it is, but like a little more. But yeah, I wouldn't be opposed. Do we think Rush of Fear will be valid opening weekend or start in September? That's a great question. Rush of Fear. I'm trying to remember Rush of Fear dates for Fear. Let me look and see what the dates were for last year. I do want to look and see. It was available as of opening weekend, and it ends in September. So, I wouldn't be surprised if it's opening weekend, and then go through September because it is technically it's only a couple days before September. So I wouldn't be surprised if it is just opening weekend to the end of September. But yeah, I do think those we'll see when those go on sale. Do you think Evil Dead will be there? I don't think this year Evil Dead will be there. Unfortunately, I would love Evil Dead. More than that is an IP I definitely want to see come to the event, the original Evil Dead. But even Evil Dead Rise, I don't think we're getting any of that this year, unfortunately. Ghostbusters might be more Frozen Empire than 1 or 2. Yeah, so I just watched Frozen Empire earlier this week. I'm not sure. A few days ago, I watched Frozen Empire, and it was interesting. I liked certain parts of it. I think there was entirely too much going on. I have no clue if they were to just do it as the Frozen Empire in the house. I don't see where it would really work. I think Frozen Empire mixed with the others, I think would be the best thing. Do some of the Frozen sets will be cool. Frozen Firehouse facade would be really neat. Garaka on a Stoat Walker will be cool. But I don't think I think there's not a whole lot that was actually scary. There weren't really even a whole lot of ghosts in that movie. The Possessor, for those who haven't seen the movie, sorry, I'm going to do very light spoiler. I'm not really even a spoiler. Possessor is an interesting ghost in there that could be fun for Halloween Horror Nights. Really, it could be one of the more fun new characters in that one. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Is it just me or is Blumhouse wearing out its welcome? I don't think so. I think Blumhouse, because they have so much in their catalog, they can do new stuff every year, and it could just be a little accessory to whatever the big stuff is. Now, Blumhouse is the only thing at the event. I think so, but I think Blumhouse is popular. People, outside the community like it, and I like Blumhouse fine. I like the IPs. I like The Purge. Sidious is cool. I liked Megan, I like it. I don't think they should do the same things every single year. Let's do a Purge. I know they're doing a new Purge movie. Let's do a new Purge house, right? It's been a while since we've seen the Purge. That would be cool to want to bring back. But I don't think that I don't think they're wearing out their welcome all the time. But I think if they were to just keep doing the same thing every single year, it's why I'm glad we didn't get it like a Horrors of Blumhouse with Exorcist and something. Or I like when we get just the standalone movies because it kind of gives those movies their own space and doesn't just feel like we're getting the same house over and over just with new IPs. Speaking of Blumhouse, many people think The Purge, Dangerous Waters will return in Waterworld for this year in Hollywood. I wouldn't be surprised. It seemed to be a very popular show, and especially with no, the Jabberwocky stage is gone, so I wouldn't be surprised if they use that area to host more shows. And Purge is I think a really fun overlay for Water World or Slaughter World if you are someone who's been with Horror Nights Hollywood for quite a while. Wish they did more female villains in Ghostbusters or just in general, because I'm with you on that. Stay tuned for Universal Monsters this year. Frozen Empire is my least favorite Ghostbusters film. I can see being a better haunted house. That could be the case. I mean, it could honestly be like an Exorcist situation where, I liked both movies about the same. I like Exorcist Believer. Yeah, I liked it fine. It wasn't like the best movie I've ever seen. It wasn't the worst movie I've ever seen. It was decent. I had a decent time. I was entertained. Same thing with Ghostbusters. I was also entertained watching that. There were some great parts in that movie that I really liked. Some parts I didn't really like. So I hope they just pull the best things from Frozen Empire in terms of scares. I think there are a few scares that could be pretty fun in there. Yeah, I'm very curious what their approach is going to be if they were to really dive into that. Very curious considering how Blumhouse journey into video games. Definitely, especially because if y'all saw, of course they're launching Blumhouse games, and a lot of the games are not IP based. They are original concepts, which maybe could make their way to Halloween Horror Nights. Maybe could make their way to movies. You never know. Five Nights at Freddy's started as this little indie game that everybody's like, oh, whatever, this is another indie game, and then look at it. Even though we still don't have it at Horror Nights. Whatever. Maybe we'll see it with one of these others. What do you think more about video games like Silent Hill, BioShock, and more? Should we have a video game year? I think it'll be fun. I honestly don't. I don't want to maybe a full video game year because I don't like when full IP, like they did it with the 80s and it worked, but I don't know where like a full IP, because if you don't like video games, then that's not for you. It's like, okay, well, if it's all just video game stuff, I would like more video games at the event in general. Like have a video game house a year. Every year it's a new game, like something very different, right? You have like 1 year you have a Last of Us, next year you have a BioShock, next year after that you get a Silent Hill, like stagger them out. But yeah, let's do video games. Let's bring it back to the event. What do they do? Misery. Is this the Stephen King? I think that will be the biggest limitation for them to do it, because Stephen King is very weary about letting his IP go to things like this. I mean, the only time they've done a Stephen King project at HHN was The Shining, and that was technically more of the movie. So unfortunately, I don't see that happening, but I think it'd be cool. I think it'd be a fun house if they were to ever do it. I'd love to have a year of the best original concept houses. Me too. Me too. I would love to see a big original heavy year, and I think we're going to get that this year. Maybe not all the best houses, but I think like just more originals. I just won the Chucky popcorn. The Chucky popcorn bucket or the Chucky popcorn item? Yes to both. I mean, I never had the Chucky popcorn. I didn't get anything from that food booth because the line was always so long. But the Chucky popcorn bucket, do that, but with Megan. And I'm going to leave it at that. An LA Noir inspired game that reimagines Reflection of Fear. Ooh, that would be awesome. Definitely. I'm all about this. Do Boris. Put a little Boris in there. Oh, yeah. That does make sense. What attracts people the most is Mimosa says, well, and BioShock. BioShock is one that I want really bad. Fallout, I mentioned it earlier on the stream. Fallout would be another Fallout. I think would be a great one for a scare zone, or like if they were to ever do the whole like multiple scare zones on the same concept again, doing Fallout take over the entire park, having every zone be a different sort of region of Fallout with different creatures. One is a ghoul zone, one is a super mutant zone, one is maybe a raider zone, which is like almost like a Mad Max or even like a Survivor Die for those who've been to HHN. One is like synths and sort of like the Terminator style thing. Like I think if you could do that all around, and I think it could be really, really interesting. But yeah, more video game stuff, absolutely. HHN sells if they don't do a Stay Puft popcorn bucket. I think Stay Puft will get a popcorn bucket or Slimer. Yeah. I think they're going to go hard on that. Cool popcorn buckets. They sell. Chucky sold out last year multiple times. I regret not getting one, but I also was like, it was like $45. So I'm kind of like, okay, like it's cool. I don't have any. I don't really collect popcorn buckets like that. I have the toothless one up here, and I have my little Dreamport. I get them on occasion, but I don't collect every single popcorn bucket that comes out, especially from Universal. Since HHN 25 was a very big milestone, they did an anniversary year. Makes me hype for next year. So it won't be next year; it'll be the year after next, because of COVID, unfortunately. But like, yes, I do think Oddfellow versus Jack, I feel like that needs to happen. I feel like that definitely needs to happen. I feel like that would be a really, really, really cool if they were to tackle that as like the big. Throw Boris in the mix there too. Why not? Anyway, Nightmare Fuel shows are getting a little old. What would you like to have replace them? Honestly, I would like. I've said it before, but I think a Purge stunt show could be really cool. I think I think a show related to, like, if they were to do like if they were to do, what do you say, like an icon a year, and like if they were to do just more icon years, doing a icon show, like a Carnage Returns level show, would be awesome. Would allow you to get to know the icons a little more, and could be different from year to year and actually tie into the event, rather than having a show that feels kind of disconnected to the event. But I like the Lagoon show more than anything. I hope the Lagoon show comes back next year. Why the scares weaker at HHN Orlando compared to Hollywood? I always watch your guys' videos. By the look of them, by the looks of it, none of them would scare me. Part of it, I think, is because it normally depends. I think the zones here are a lot less scare heavy than in Hollywood. They really go in on the zones. This here is partially because of the crowds. It's very busy at Halloween Horror Nights Orlando. Makes it really hard for characters to move around and to really scare. So I think that's a big part of it. And I think they've also kind of leaned into it being more about the sets, more about photo ops or like whatever, like love it or hate it. I like, like Oddfellow Zone, I did not get scared in at all, but I thought it was a fun zone because you had Oddfellow walking around. But yeah, that's just my opinion. I think it's mostly because of crowds. It's just Halloween Horror Nights is the premier. Orlando is the destination. It's where people want to go. It's where people really choose to go to Halloween Horror Nights Orlando. Hollywood is gaining that a little bit, but Hollywood is more local, so I feel like that definitely has an impact on it, on what they can get away with, and just the crowds as much. Fallout sounds great. I especially love psychological horrors like Evil Within, Silent Hill. Silent Hill would be great. I think all these are great ideas. I know Evil Within, I'm not super familiar with that, but I know you mentioned it in a previous comment. I've heard that game, and I've heard nothing but good things about it. So yeah, definitely. Wonder if they'll do Otis plushes. They have somebody designed a really cute little Otis drawing on X. So I'm like, I'd really like to see a Twitter X, whatever. I would like to see them do that kind of thing. I wonder if they would ever do that. Just remember Blumhouse. Yes, this is true. Blumhouse isn't making the games; they're publishing them. And Blumhouse, just like how some Blumhouse movies are also published by different people, like they're released by different people. It's like Imaginary was, I believe, released by Lionsgate, so makes sense why Universal didn't really, and also because that movie didn't really do that hot. Makes sense why that movie maybe didn't get pulled for Halloween Horror Nights this year, because it's not owned by Universal as much as some of the other films are. It's not produced by them. Who is the very first Orlando icon? Jack the Clown debuted in 2000. All the way back then. What IP has HHN not done that you would like to see? I talked about this a little bit earlier, but Evil Dead, the original Evil Dead, technically they did it in 2009, I think, or one of the previous All Night Dying houses. I don't remember specifically, but definitely they did it. But I mean, I'd love to see an original. I got Ash back there somewhere on the set. I don't know. I have a lot of stuff on the shelf, but yeah, I love Evil Dead. Evil Dead 2 is one of my favorite horror movies of all time. I would love Evil Dead, and Fallout I've talked about before. BioShock will be awesome. Creepshow. We never got Creepshow over here. I know they had it in Hollywood. Creepshow would be beautiful. Beautiful anthology house in the vein of like a tribute to terror kind of deal. Obviously inspired by Creepshow. But yeah, I think those are some of the ones. Creature from the Black Lagoon is another one. Scream, like the basics, but some of the other ones are more like personal ones that I would like to see. The sets in your guys' houses are huge. Does the team get to use the screen use sets? No, they're all built in-house. Like, I don't know if I feel like they have used screen use props, but they don't like use the sets they film the movies on. It's all built by Universal, which is crazy. But these houses they're expensive. They got a high budget. What's your opinion on the premium Scream ticket? Okay, I didn't really talk about this that much. I'm gonna go on the website and actually see if the premium Scream Night tickets are on sale. So for those who don't know Premium Scream Night, y'all probably know what it is, but just for those who don't, it is a add-on one night only. Thursday, August 29th, you basically get a sneak peek of the event. low wait times, all you can eat food, low capacity, and it's really exclusive. It's $350. It's pretty cut and dry, and it's still available. So you can buy your Premium Scream tickets, and they went on sale on Thursday. So my thing is that I like the idea, and I think it's great for those who are the concept is great for those who are going for one night. However, it is one night only. I don't like that, and it is before the event starts, which I also don't think is the best idea. I think we don't know first of all, for one, we don't know all the houses yet. So I don't know why this, I don't know, for someone who isn't tapped in, that doesn't know what rumors are and what is likely to come, right? If you're just coming from an outside perspective, you're like, I want to go to Halloween Horror Nights, I want to get scared. Okay, we have these houses. We don't even have all 10 announced. We don't have any scare zones announced. We don't know what the shows are. So, and we don't know what the food is. So we are going to buy this ticket and we don't really know what's going on here. I think that the price isn't the thing that's really bothering me, because when you pay for a ticket, okay, includes ticket, access to the low crowd, right? Which I'm guessing is comparable to an express pass. We don't know. We'll see. Which again, we will only see one night, so you can't really go and then be like, oh well, that was cool. I'll do it. I'll book one. So I just wanted to see what it was about. You won't know because it's only one night. But yeah, so ticket, express, parking, food. Really, when you add all those things up, it gets really expensive. And that $350 price tag is not that weird, right? So I'm not bothered with the price. I'm not bothered with the amenities. It's something we've been asking for. I'm personally not going to go because I have a lot of other things that I'm looking to upgrade my setups this year, and frequent fair passes and hotels and yada yada yada. It's expensive. It's expensive to go to Halloween Horror Nights, just in general. So this night is cool for those who are able to swing it. And if you're interested in this, if you go to the Universal website, go to the Halloween Horror Nights website, tickets are available still. You can still buy them. So they're not sold out yet. So that's something to know. But I think it's cool. I think the timing could have been a little better. Maybe this is a test. Maybe they'll extend it. You never know. And I don't like to be super negative. I'm not going to dogpile because I don't think this is a bad idea. I think the concept is great. I just wish it was a different time. That's just me. I need them to drop the Ultimate Freaking Fear Pass with Express already. Soon, my friend. We will get them. We will get them very soon. Also, I'm gonna plug this. Horror Fiends, great channel. They got a ticket to Premium Scream Night, so they're gonna make a video on it. So when that comes out, I will link that video. So if y'all want to see what the event was like, go check that out. And I have a video on Premium Scream Night if you want to learn a little more about it. But yeah, if you want to learn a little more of the specifics, because I did do just a general overview of Premium Scream Night. If you're interested in more of the specifics about it, I have that video out on the channel. At Monsterpalooza, there were masks that were never seen before. It seems to fit the rumored Luchador scare zone. Definitely, I don't really know. I did see them, but I'm curious if those are actually for sure going to Horror Nights, because that would be kind of weird to reveal that and not. It's kind of like what they do with public theater, where they revealed it and then they're like, okay, we're gonna when are you gonna announce it officially? Because we've already seen what the house looks like. In this case, we've already seen what the characters look like. I think it'd be cool thing. Cool to have a Luchador scare zone in the park. Do you ever think Universal will get rid of the multi-day tickets for HHN? I don't think so. I think they're too popular. I think enough people buy them where they can validate. A lot of people, including myself, I would be very upset if they got rid of multi-day tickets, because it's I go to the event a lot. I don't live too far away from Halloween Horror Nights. I go many, many times a year, and it would suck to have to buy an individual ticket every single time you wanted to go to the event, and it would make me not go to the event as much. I would only go once, maybe twice. Granted, it would get me to buy one of the more expensive perks, but I don't see them doing this. Now, what does happen, I will say this, they do sometimes, last year this happened, sold out of frequent fear passes. So like everything, I'm going to recommend that when those frequent fear passes drop, you get them as quick as possible. Obviously, I know people don't got, some people just don't have the money to just drop it all at once. I understand. However, it was midway through the event and the frequent free passes sold out. So that does happen. I don't see that happening this year because I don't think this year's going to be as crazy as last year. But just keep that in mind. What are the bets, Potter or Dark Universe announcement? So here's a funny thing, right? The Epic Universe Preview Center, this is not HHN related, kind of. Dark Universe is kind of, monsters. Coming Preview Center, I think that thing is opening soon. And I think we're going to get that announcement once that Preview Center opens. It is, the walls are down, signs are up, there's merch in the windows. We already see a little bit of Dark Universe preview merchandise. Let me see if I can find it. But yes, so we have that stuff, and it seems like they're going to open this before those announcements come, which is really weird. I don't know why they would do that. Maybe they'll drop the announcements on the same day or at the same time frame. But yeah, I don't know. I'm very curious. Can't find it at the current moment, but they do have some preview merch, right, around in the park. So I'm guessing we're going to get both of those announcements this month once the preview center opens. Maybe one alongside the opening and maybe one afterwards, or maybe two alongside the opening. Maybe it opens at next weekend and we get two next week. Who knows? That is another thing for those who don't know. For Epic Universe, all the big updates I've been covering. I covered the main announcement, the first announcement, and then the How to Train Your Dragon announcement. I want to do more park stuff this summer. I know I've been going really hard on HHN, and I mean, I know y'all love HHN, so it's not like, nothing bad, but I do want to do more park stuff as well. So I want to have like a balance, because I know some people are here for park stuff too, that are not just here for HHN, although most of you are here for HHN. But yeah, I think when we get those announcements, I'll do video breakdowns of what we see, as well as when the preview center opens. Again, I think that thing's opening soon. What do you think Bill and Ted ended? I don't know if there's a specific reason, but I believe it just ended. I feel like it kind of just ran its course. It had been going for 25 years, I think, at that point. So it was a long time. Someone thought it was too offensive. I know it was like, I know that's the same thing that happened with Chucky, and that's happened with a lot of the shows. But I think it's a combination of that plus it's run its course, which that's why I don't think Bill and Ted would come back. That's why, I think the rumor of Bill and Ted coming back, or the idea of Bill and Ted coming back, is a little weird, and I don't 100% fully feel it. I don't really. That's just me. I don't know, but I would think it would be cool to for it to come back. But again, I think it's kind of run its course, and I think if it were to reopen, I worry it would feel the same way that The Hanging did when Knotts brought it back, where a lot of it was just kind of unfunny and very on the nose about the idea of cancel culture and things like that. And that stuff's not funny to me. I don't think the jokes about, oh, we can't say anything funny because we're going to get canceled. I think that's kind of old. It's kind of hacky. But that's just my point of view on it. But yeah, the time machine is in the tribute. It's outside the front. Yeah. Which is cool. It's a cool photo op. And I mean, there's a lot of Easter eggs. There's 4 or 5 Easter eggs to Bill and Ted at that tribute store. So it'd be cool if they came back. It'd be cool if they came back to the park. If they brought him back to the park, but I know they also don't own Bill and Ted. I don't believe Universal owns Bill and Ted. I believe that's Paramount, I think. So maybe with A Quiet Place, they were like, hey, Paramount, let's bring Bill and Ted back. Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily a big thing. Also, it's funny. I feel like we've come full circle. We started talking about the Bill and Ted phone booth, and now we've come all the way back to the Bill and Ted phone booth, and Bill and Ted at the event. But yeah, I think having them in the park would be fun. I hope this summer brings some new stuff, some new meet and greets, some new characters roaming around. I think Bill and Ted would just be fun characters to do, not maybe the same kind of show they have in Horror Nights, but just some fun meet and greet you can have in the park, like you have with Beetlejuice or with Doc Brown or something, one of those classic characters. with the rumor IPs not being very exciting, was there a previous event where the IP announcements were very disappointing? I'm trying to think. I mean, for those who had to endure the Walking Dead years, who remember the Walking Dead every single year, like for 6 years in a row, I feel like yes, but Resident Evil, like that kind of era. I feel like we're that people kind of forget that early 2000s, early IP eras existed. People think that it was all just really cool and awesome, and it wasn't. So, but I also feel like 2022 also had this where, yes, you had The Weeknd, you had Michael Myers. Although people were saying, "Oh, why are we doing Michael Myers again? We just had it not too long ago." Blumhouse is like, "Yeah, it's Blumhouse, whatever." And Monsters is Monsters. But I feel like that was definitely or a year where originals carried. The IP houses were good that year. I think the IP houses were all pretty solid that year. So I think this year could be where the IP houses might not sound great on paper, but they could be really solid in execution. That's my hope. Do you think HHN will bring a Jaws maze? I don't know, because I feel like that was gonna be hard for them to do. Like I feel like it might be difficult for them to pull off a Jaws house. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like maybe a part of like a terror tram would be cool, but like I don't know, because I feel like animatronic sharks. I think that's part of the reason why they're not really going into like Creatures from Black Lagoon, right? Doing the underwater thing is kind of hard on both Orlando and Hollywood with the budget, and I mean, I'd love to see it. I love Jaws, one of my favorite movies, and I just don't know how scary you could really make it without it just being a bunch of animatronic sharks, which is very expensive and can get very hacky after a while. Although I think it would be really cool. Did you get in the hotel lounges? Yes, we did talk about the hotel lounges actually, and they're actually pretty cool. I really like them. I think they're really neat. I think it's a cool thing they're doing this year. And I'm going to check them out. I'm going to at least briefly look at all of them and try to get into one of them to see what it's about, see what the lounges have in store. I don't really drink, so not really. Maybe have someone else try a drink, and I'll ask for their review on it. Or maybe I'll do it for the video. I don't know. I'm not the person to review alcohol. I don't really review food in general. I want to do more food reviews, but I'm not an alcohol drinker, so I'm not someone to be like, this is good. Like I'm not. It's not me. Non-alcoholic though, mocktails, I'm all over it. What's going on, Gigi? Welcome to the stream. Bring back the body collectors. I would love to see the body collectors come back. I think these are great, like icon. Like they're close enough to like icons, but they're not official capital I icons. Like I think it's something like it's like a Slaughter Cinema where it's almost like an IP within Horror Nights. Like it's like a part recognizable. Like people know who the body collectors are. If you were to say we're doing another body collector's house, people will get excited. Same thing with Nightingales, Legions of Horror, yeah, all that stuff. Legions of Horror would be great to bring back. That's a scare zone that for some reason, I've found myself researching it a lot recently, and looking at pictures of it a lot, which is really cool. Do you think IPs like Barbarian or Smile could work? Barbarian could. I think they could, but I don't know. I'm trying to think of like how I necessarily could see them. Maybe more in a house. I don't see in a scare zone really, but I definitely see houses because they are kind of like, I know Barbarian especially is like where it's like set in a house. So I think like could be cool. Although Smile we will see with the sequel, right? Because I know the sequel for Smile is coming out. So maybe they do something really cool there that's like more Horror Nights appealing. I want to say this. I don't think every movie should be a haunted house. I'm someone there's so many people like, oh, what about this? What about this? What about this? I think some movies definitely lean themselves to haunted houses. But some movies, like I even love, like something like Nope. I love that movie. I think you could do a haunted house of it, but I don't like it. It's not like a house that I think of like even like oh shoot, like I'm trying to think of like another like a Terrifier. Okay, I don't love Terrifier, but I think Terrifier can make a fun haunted house. So it's like, I don't think everything could make a good haunted house. And I don't think, just because something is a little unconventional that makes it's going to be bad. Look at A Quiet Place. It is quite unconventional just in terms of the whole silence thing. People are like, oh, what are they going to do? I think they could make it work, but I don't think everything needs to be a house or a zone. I think some things could work better as zones. I think some things could work better as houses. That's just my take on it, though. But yeah, I don't think everything is a zone. I don't think everything needs to be a house. I think when the right IP comes along, you'll know. So, okay. I don't know if anybody has any sort of last minute questions, comments, thoughts on everything. Because we were hitting about 2 hours. Quite a long stream. It was awesome. Like, I love when y'all. I mean, I love doing these streams. It's a lot of fun. And I plan on doing another stream probably when we get the next IP announced. Honestly, I would love to see it. Let's see. But yeah. Anyways, I just wanted to say that before we do our last minute round of questions. For Slaughter Cinema, if you can make one movie in that house, what would it be? So one movie from that house, make it real. I think a midnight snack movie would be a lot of fun. It's basically just like Gremlins, right? So I'm like, okay, like a Gremlins style house would be fun. Ooh, Sorority Sacrifice could be a really cool movie. That's one that I would really love to learn more about. Sorority Sacrifice. That'll be my pick. Because it's like kind of a weird, unexplained thing. And it's like kind of cool. And I think the college setting is something that they don't, like, they could use more. I really like when Scream did it. I know a lot of people don't love that Scream sequel. I think it's Scream 2 that did it in the college. I think it could be cool. I think Sorority Sacrifice would be my pick. How about a brand new Dungeon of Terror? Yes. Let's do another Dungeon of Terror. Let's make it like if y'all ever went to the dark ride maze in Knott's, that would be one that I think. Doing it like that, like a dark ride. But yes, new Dungeon of Terror. Oh, also, sorry, I didn't know if you meant movie for the house. I thought you meant like a movie, like making one of the movies from the house a real movie. But either way, movie for the house. Alien Cowboys. Like Cowboys versus Aliens, but like make it like the aliens we saw, like make it like an alien cowboy kind of deal. I think it would be kind of cool. That would be one that would be fun to see. So anyway, for HHN 35, we have a versus dual year. HHN 35, I love a versus House Nightingale versus Body Collectors. That would be cool. Jack versus Oddfellow, yeah. Poseidons versus Darkanon. Vamps versus Wolves. Do the Bloodslayers and the Demon Dogs, or Devil Dogs, sorry. Slaughter Cinema and Vamp. And then don't do Slaughter Cinema for a while. Unless we get Demon Dog, or I keep saying Demon Dog, Devil Dogs. If we get them back in this year, I would say no. But I think if they don't do Devil Dogs at any point in this haunted house, do it like that, like a greaser gang war between vampires and werewolves. I think that'd be kind of cool. Would you rather have an original house based on spiders and snakes? That would be very scary, but yeah, I think that'd be cool. It'd be cool. They did a house all about fears and like superstitions. I think that's I think is literally what it was called. It's called Superstitions. Back in 2000 or 2001, it was in the early Icon years. A house like that would be kind of cool. Like people's biggest fears, like kind of like the Bug House, but like do it a few different sections. So you have like bugs, spiders, snakes. One's like the dark. One's like heights. I think like that stuff could be really wild if they were to do that now. And I think it could be really cool. A lot of people were kind of underwhelmed with bugs. If you were to do something of that nature, make it really like you can't finish this house. You are going to be afraid of something in this house, which I think is kind of cool. Bring back the Crypt Keeper. Yeah, I think bringing back the Crypt Keeper would be a lot of fun. I think it would be a fun sort of icon character, although who owns that? I don't know if that's Universal that owns Tales from, because I think Tales from the Crypt is, I don't want to say is having like a revival, but I mean, it is something that it's like people are like getting, like definitely if they did like a 90s year, a Crypt Keeper year would be really, really cool. Like a Crypt Keeper being the host of a 90s icon year, because he was kind of the icon of the 90s. Him and Beetlejuice and the Universal Monsters. So HBO, so I think Warner Brothers owns this. But they did do Universal did do movies, so I wonder what the sort of situation could be with the Crypt Keeper at the event. Yeah, very, very curious. It makes me think about what other icon, like what other past, because they did bring him back in 25 and 20, I think. I know at least in one of the scare zones, I believe it was 20. They brought him back and no, I think it was 25. I don't remember. I was one or both. It makes me think about like what characters we would like to see come back that have never really come back before, right? We've seen Bloody Mary. Well, no, we haven't seen Bloody Mary. I guess that could be one of them. But we've seen Eddie, for example. We've seen Eddie come back. We've seen Cindy come back. Who is someone who you would like to see that has never come back, that you would like to see back again and like have a return, whether it's in a scare zone or in a house? Very curious. Any thoughts, ideas who the icon would be? I think it'll be a new character. I know Gigi came in late. Did talk about this earlier. Otis. Otis being sort of an icon character, but I do think it's a new character we have not seen. In terms of like, it's not gonna. I don't think it's gonna be Fear. I don't think it's gonna be Eddie. I don't think it's gonna be Boris. Unfortunately, I think those characters, the ship's kind of sailed. But I do think this could be a new character, someone we don't know yet, and we're going to learn about. Kind of like Oddfellow, even though we did kind of know about him, but not really. They kind of did reimagine his character, so maybe it's someone completely new that maybe has ties to Fear, ties to the icons, but it's someone different. What house do you think is going in the Mummy queue? I do think it is going to be some kind of Fallout, not Fallout like the game, but Fallout, a house in something, some kind of like nuclear apocalypse zombie kind of house. Because I mean, we are seeing that the facade looks a lot like a Fallout shelter, and it has that like kind of with explosion inside. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's something that we do see in the future. And we do see come to Halloween Horror Nights, I should say, some sort of Fallout apocalypse house. And it's cool because I don't know if, other than the Toxic Tunnel, I know that's been talked about, Toxic Tunnel, but other than the Toxic Tunnel, like actual scare zone or like walkthrough, I don't know if it's like a scare zone, it's like a walkthrough experience. I don't know if that's the last time, but like they haven't really done zombies in a while, other than The Walking Dead. Like doing like an original zombie take would be kind of cool, because obviously we've done it here with Descendants of Destruction and with Dead Exposure and with Seeds of Extinction to a degree, like an original apocalypse. Although I wonder how redundant that might be with Quiet Place being already kind of like an apocalypse setting. Would it be kind of redundant to do it again with an original? Who knows? But looks definitely like something on that nature. Eddie and Cindy need to return. Ghost Town Lightning Gulch versus Yeti. That would be kind of interesting, seeing Yetis take over the Western. I don't know what they would really fit, because the Yetis are kind of like, it's like the forest, right? But like, I don't know, but I think it's interesting. I think it could be interesting. I would like to see Ghost Town return in some capacity. Okay. So I think I'm going to wrap it up here for this stream. But I want to thank y'all again for watching the stream. We're just about hitting 2 hours, so figure give my voice a break and end it right here. But again, I want to thank y'all for hanging out, talking about tickets, talking about Premium Scream Night, talking about hotel lounges, of course, talking about the announcement. We will be back whenever there's another announcement, another IP announced. We'll probably do another stream here. There's definitely going to be more videos. I want to do some more videos, just random videos. I know we've been talking a lot about stuff coming and like what's coming. But I want to like take a step back too and like talk about other things related to HHN, maybe like a hotel guide and things like that. So anyways, more videos to come. I'm not sure exactly when, sometime next week, obviously. I'll try to do videos once a week. Anyways, thank you all for watching the stream. Thank you all for coming through, and I'll see you all in the next video. Have a great Saturday night, morning, evening, wherever you were at. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Take care, everybody. Yeah, thumbs up. Otis. We love Otis. Anyway, see y'all.